You can have the best walkthrough system, the strongest instructional playbook, and the most passionate teachers. But if there's no rhythm of feedback and reflection, there is no growth. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about how to keep the momentum going long after that initial push. How do you, as the leader, embed feedback, reflection, and celebration into your school's DNA so that teacher engagement is the norm in the culture and it's not just a coaching cycle? Let's get started. Hi, friend. Are you ready to move into a leadership position? Do you have interests and ambitions that you want to pursue, but feel like you don't know how to take that next step? Maybe you want to start your own coaching or consulting agency. I'm Mel, and I help educators define their career path through correct mindset, knowing your options, and getting prepared for your career transition. I will show you how to level up your leadership skills, share your expertise in a new way, create impact on a larger scale, and put your leadership in motion. As an educator for over 20 years, I started to feel underused and like I had more to give. I knew when the time had come for me to leave the classroom and affect change on a larger level. Now, I'm ready to help you determine where your talents and skills mesh with your passions and interests. Put your leadership in motion and move into that next phase of your educational career journey. Let me help you define your career path by having the right mindset, knowing your options, and getting prepared for that next leadership position. So power up and put your leadership in motion. Hello, empowered educators. Dr. Mel. Welcome back to the last episode of Engagement in Action. If you've been with me throughout this series, you know that I've been unpacking what it really looks like to lead engagement with your teachers, not from the sideline, but in action, observing, modeling, giving that real-time feedback, and coaching teachers toward growth that is sustainable. Over these last few episodes, we've built the foundation, we've practiced the moves, and looked at how leaders can create systems that truly support teachers in real time. Today, I'm going to be talking about what comes after that coaching cycle, how to keep that momentum going continuously. So in this final episode, I want to bring it all together, wrap it up in a nice, pretty little bow, complete that feedback loop. We're going to talk about how you can turn feedback into that rhythm and make reflection part of your team's DNA, which keeps your people energized for that long haul, guys. I've got about 4 tips for you today on how to do that. So number 1, make feedback part of the culture, not just something that's on your calendar. Feedback shouldn't feel like an inspection of your teacher's lessons. It should feel like an investment. You want your teachers to shift their mindset from I'm being evaluated to I'm being equipped with the tools that I need to be a master at my craft. I had never heard teaching being called a craft until I was a first-time principal going through the Missouri Leadership Development System. And we referred to it as the teacher craft all the time. Teaching is a craft because it's a skill that's refined over time through practice and reflection and intentional adjustment as you're going. It's blending the art of teaching, the science of teaching, and the heart of teaching to reach every single learner. Normalize those quick, informal feedback touch points. And then create some visible routines for your feedback. I go into classrooms Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. I don't tend to do feedback on Mondays, mostly for myself because that seems to be when I get slammed with things and I don't want to not show up. And Fridays we have a different schedule, and so it's just a whole lot easier for me to make sure that I do it on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday for my teachers. And then they know when to expect me somewhat. However, I do try to change it up so I'm not seeing the exact same thing every time that I go in. but the main point is to be in there weekly. Number 2 is to build some reflective routines that stick. Encourage your teachers to own their learning. My principal and I work off of the same observation spreadsheet, which feeds into an individual sheet that the teachers are able to see and they have access to all the time. So after I go in and give feedback, or after my principal goes in and gives feedback, the teachers immediately have what we have written on our observation spreadsheet. And then we use the see it, name it, do it model for our coaching sessions so they can see it. Then they can name it, and then they're able to do it. And then I use the same types of techniques for our PD sessions, for our teacher in-service days. When we are doing teacher in-service, I am modeling the things I expect to see when I go in classrooms. And then we talk about it. What did you see me do? And how is that going to impact your student learning? You can also pair teachers for peer coaching, or maybe pair them as growth partners. Rather than you going in and modeling upon occasion what that should look like, have a teacher that is great at it model that consistently. Have the teacher who needs the growth to go in and visit the classroom and watch the master teacher in action. If you have a teacher who's very strong at classroom management and you have a teacher who is not, have the teacher with some growth area watch the teacher who is a master at it in her own context, in her own classroom or his own classroom, so they can see what that looks like in action. Consistency always beats intensity. A culture grows through repeated intentional habits, guys, not just those one-off PD sessions where they're going to forget what you taught them the minute they get back to the classroom. And then number 3, celebrate progress so you can sustain that energy. Celebration fuels consistency. You know that as a teacher, you know that as a leader. Highlight teacher wins in your weekly newsletters. Do some staff shout outs. Can't talk today, guys. Make that connection between teacher growth and student engagement visible. Show how instructional adjustments are impacting learning outcomes in classrooms. And use data and stories to remind your staff why the work matters and how engagement changes the lives of the students. When teachers feel seen, they keep showing up stronger. Sustaining engagement isn't about adding one more initiative. It's about anchoring what already works, what you're already doing. When you create a school culture that values real-time feedback, reflection, and celebration, growth becomes the norm, not the exception. Guys, this wraps up our Engagement in Action series, but your work as a leader is just beginning. Go back, revisit each step, and pick one next move to implement this coming week. Small steps lead to sustained change. Before this week ends, meet with your leadership or your coaching team and ask them, how can we make feedback and reflection part of our weekly rhythm? And then make it happen. So here's some of the key takeaways. Embed feedback in everyday conversations, not just evaluations. Reflection builds ownership and accelerates mastery. Systems sustain growth, and consistency is key. And then celebrations keep your culture energized and engaged. This series has walked you through building foundational engagement, coaching in real time, modeling through practice, and sustaining that culture of growth. You now have that blueprint that I've mentioned before, purpose, people, and process that's going to transform teacher engagement from just strategy to an instructional lifestyle.